Have you ever jolted awake in the dead of night, somewhere between 3 and 5 a.m., with your heart racing and your mind replaying 1,000 worries? You check the clock, and in the hush of your bedroom, the world feels both too loud and completely still. There's a strange tension in that hour. It can feel like a spiritual ambush, or, and this is what I want you to hear, it can be the most sacred appointment of your day. You see, the Bible calls the pre-dawn hours a holy time. David rose early to seek the Lord, Psalm 63 verse 1. Jesus spent solitary nights in prayer, Mark 1 verse 35. There's something about darkness and quiet that strips away pretense and makes room for God's voice. If you find yourself waking up in that window, don't panic, don't scroll. Don't start rehearsing what you'll say and do tomorrow. Instead, do these 3 things. They'll change more than your night, they'll change your life. 1. Anchor your heart in prayer, not panic. First, the instinct in the dark is often fear. Fear whispers, what if, what about, how will I? But the Bible tells us to be anxious for nothing, because prayer is our remedy, Philippians 4 verse 6. So do this. Before your mind races, anchor your heart in prayer. Start simple and focused. When you wake, sit up, breathe, and say out loud. Short sentences work best. Lord, I'm here, I'm awake, speak to me. Don't feel like you must deliver a sermon. Pray like a child talking to a loving father. Pour out the noise, the worries, the names, the deadlines, the fears. Then pivot to thanksgiving. Gratitude is a spiritual lever. Even counting 2 or 3 things you're grateful for will begin to reorient your mind. Next, pray with scripture. Take a short psalm, Psalm 23, Psalm 46, Psalm 63, and pray it back to God. For example, the Lord is my shepherd becomes, Lord, be my shepherd tonight. Lead me, restore me. Praying scripture retrains your heart away from panic and onto truth. Finally, pray with intent for others. This quiet hour is a powerful time of intercession. Think of the people who keep you awake. Family members, friends, leaders, nations. Speak their names aloud. Don't rush. Let this time become a small altar where you lay their needs before God. Often when we intercede, God displaces our anxiety with purpose. If you're physically able, kneel. There's something about posture that affects the soul. But if you can't, even placing your hand on your chest and whispering is worship. The key is not performance, it's presence. 2. Be still and listen. Journal what you hear. The second thing is countercultural. Be still and listen. We live in a click and solve culture. When awake at 3 a.m., our first impulse is to Google or to scroll. Don't. That noise steals the very stillness God uses to speak. After you pray, sit quietly for a few minutes and expect God to respond. He may answer audibly, rarely. More often, he speaks through impressions, scripture that comes to mind, a sudden conviction, or a clear sense of peace about something you were fretting over. You might feel nudged toward a name, a person, a phrase. Write it down. Keep a small journal by your bed. When you wake, flip it open and write what you felt, what you heard, and the emotions tied to it. Don't judge, just capture. This practice trains your spiritual ears. Over time, you'll recognize patterns, the same theme, repeated phrases, or a particular Bible verse that keeps returning. Those are God's breadcrumbs. There's also prophetic listening. If you're in a season where God's calling you to speak to others, these early hours often carry prophetic clarity. You might sense counsel to speak to a friend, comfort to text a neighbor, or direction about a decision. Don't bottleneck what you receive. Act on simple, clear things. Send a short, encouraging message, a scripture, or a prayer. Small acts of obedience in the morning can save a person's day and protect your heart from becoming self-focused. If you can, read a single verse or short passage and meditate on it slowly. Let it sink into your heart. The practice of slowing down cultivates a soul that's less reactive and more receptive. 3. Plan and obey. Turn revelation into action. The third thing is practical and powerful. Plan and obey. The early hours are a bridge between revelation and action. If God gave you insight, a nudge, or a burden in prayer and silence, write down a one-step action you can take during daylight. Make it specific and doable. For instance, if you felt prompted to pray for a coworker, write, "Today at 10 o'clock a.m., call or text Jane with this prayer." If God laid on your heart a need, maybe to forgive someone or to reconcile, write down the first step. Write a letter, ask for coffee, speak the truth in love. If worry about finances was replaced by an idea for stewardship, jot the first practical step. Review budget, call financial counselor, sell X. Big mountain moves start with small steps. There's spiritual maturity in linking revelation to obedience. Revelation without action is like a map tucked into a drawer. God gives direction, so we'll move. The discipline you cultivate in the early hours can create momentum that shapes your entire day. You will notice that days begin with divine direction rather than frantic reaction. Also, make space that day to protect the peace you found. Maybe that means a short walk at lunchtime, scripture reading, or a 20-minute power nap. Guard that early morning encounter by not allowing your day to be eaten by chaos. If the night was for prayer, the day should be for purposeful living. Why these hours are so potent? There's a reason the ancient church called this the watch of the morning. Darkness hides many things, but it also reveals honesty. In the night, masks fall away. We can't perform, we can't posture, we are raw. God often works in rawness. He meets broken hearts, confesses with the contrite, and speaks into the place where we are most honest. If you cultivate these hours, you're forming a secret life with God, a life that will sustain public ministry, private responsibilities, and the ordinary heartbreaks of being human. So friend, if you wake between 3 and 5 a.m., don't curse the hour, embrace it. Pray first, anchor your heart in the presence of God. Second, be still and listen. Journal what God whispers. Third, plan and obey. Turn revelation into small, faithful actions during your day. Let me leave you with a simple prayer you can whisper when you wake. Lord, it's me. I'm awake. Speak, I am listening. Help me do what you show me. Say it slowly, listen, write, do. Over time, you'll learn the language of those quiet hours. You'll see God move in ways that surprise you. You'll find your worry traded for peace, your panic traded for purpose, and your sleeplessness converted into sacred appointment. The night can become your seminary and your sanctuary. Wake up, pray, listen, move. Your life is bigger than your fear. God is nearer than your worry. He's already waiting.